Right after patch 13.9 dropped, Riot decided to ship a B patch to nerf Duelist, but more importantly Gadgeteen as well, as both comps were way too oppressive. Well, it's safe to say that Duelist got the shorter end of the deal, and here's our top 5 comps for you to play this week. One comp that wasn't affected by that B patch though is the Oxslingers. Twisted Fate, Annie, Neeko, Gnar, Echo, Viego, Alistar and Fiora are the wombo combo of Spellslinger carries and a tough Ox Force frontline. As this is a default leveling comp surrounding 4 cost carries, you want to hit level 7 and find some copies of mainly Neeko and Twisted Fate. TF is going to be your primary carry here, so you want to prioritize his itemization first with Static Shiv, Gwynsu's Rageblade and Giant Slayer. Neeko is your backline carry and she wants those typical AP carry items like Spear of Shojin, Morellonomicon and then Hextech Gunblade. In a comp based around Ox Force units and Spellslingers, there's only one unit who brings both of these traits to the table, and it's none other than your main tank Annie. Warmogs, Bramble Vest and Dragon's Claw are all fantastic options for her. For hero augments, you're looking at any Twisted Fate or the support hero augment of Annie. Both augments are ideal, but Annie's support augment is just placing better on average. After sorting out your heroes, you can pick either any Ox Force or Spellslinger augment. There are also other great augments to pick for this comp, and if you always want to know which hero augment is the best, you need to use our new augments feature. This shows you live updated stats of each augment you're seeing and even tells you which one is the best choice to go for. So let those stats help you make the right decisions and bring them with you into your game. The link is in the description. Comp number 2 on our list wants you to mainly run one trait, and it's a comp full with InfiniTeams called Ezrealities. This comp consists of Ultimate Ezreal, Shen, Fiddlesticks, Twisted Fate, Ezreal, Sivir, Lucian and Pantheon. This is another default leveling comp that wants you to focus on leveling and only getting your hands on an InfiniTeam emblem through your mid game, so you can play 7 InfiniTeam in the late game. As for your carries, Ultimate Ezreal is your main carry, so try and slam items like Infinity Edge, Last Whisper and Hand of Justice from the get-go. These are all items made out of a glove, so make that component your priority in all your carousels. Then we have Shen, who is the only InfiniTeam unit that can be considered as a decent tank. Sunfire Cape, Warmog's Armor and Bramble Vest are all great options to go for, but really anything that makes him tankier works here anyway. Then lastly we have Fiddlesticks, your main utility and probably the best InfiniTeam emblem holder in the entire game. Make sure you always place him on one of the portals so you get him cloned and make him corrupt the entire enemy team. For augments in this one, look for any InfiniTeam Heart's Crest or Crown, or else it'll be pretty hard to pull this one off. When it comes to hero augments, any Ultimate Ezreal ones in the later stages are no-brainers, but you could also go with something like Pantheon's Chronic Hallucinations at the first augment selection. Next up we have a comp that was the main reason and target of the B patch, Gadgeteen. Although the Yordle is getting back-to-back nerfs, Gnar is still causing mayhem and you want to play him alongside Annie, Nunu, Shen, LeBlanc, Pyke, Lulu and Poppy. Now you can only get the +1 Gadgeteen emblem at the last augment selection stage. It is a little bit harder to get this comp online, but it's still incredibly strong once you do. Dependent on your Gadgeteen augment hit on stage 4-2, you can either play this as a slow roll comp and stay at level 7 to 3-star your Gnar, or simply rush for level 8 and make sure you hit that last missing Gadgeteen and 5 cost Nunu. Once you activate 5 Gadgeteen and throw 3 items on Gnar, he'll become a literal beast. Bloodthirster and Titan's Resolve will make him big and bulky, and Last Whisper will make him slice up the enemy team. Your second most important Gadgeteen is Annie, and you want to send everything defensive her way, as she'll also be your main tank. So go for items like Warmog's Armor, Gargoyle Stoneplate and Ionic Spark. Then lastly you have the highest cost Gadgeteen unit Nunu, and he can hold any leftover items, although those extra AP ones will make him shine most. For hero augments, Nunu's carry augment has one of the best stats in the entire game, with an insanely high 19% win rate. Of course, you could also pick up Gnar's Temper Tantrum, and then obviously any Gadgeteen Heart's Crest or Crown. Comp number 4 is all about 4 cost carries and an extremely consistent top 4 finisher on top, called Riftgate. With this one, you want to use Jhin, Viego, Echo, Vex, Leona, Syndra, Alistar and Pyke. This is yet another default leveling comp, which is probably one of the most flexible comps in this mid-set. All you really want to focus on is leveling up to 8 during the end of stage 4 and start getting all those purple 4 cost units online. Your main carry is the Renegade Jhin, and he wants Last Whisper in combination with Infinity Edge, and then something like a Giant Slayer to top it off. Your secondary Renegade carry is Viego, who you want to send everything AP to. That means Hextech Gunblade, Ionic Spark and Jeweled Gauntlet will fit in best. Lastly, there's also Echo, which is your main tank and frontliner in this comp. For him, you can go for classic defensive items like Bramble Vest, Dragon's Claw and Sunfire Cape. For augments, you want to go for any Jhin hero ones or Pyke support augment. For standard augments, try getting your hands on a Renegade Heart's Crest or Crown. Okay, now we have the last comp on our list, which is a wild combination of mechas and threats, and it's as simple as it is clever. You want to use Aurelion Sol, Garen, Belveth, Fiddlesticks, Samira, Jax, Morgana and Wukong. This last default leveling comp wants you to stabilize with Aurelion Sol and Garen in stage 4, and preferably find most of your other 4 costs by the time you hit level 8. Asol is your main AP carry who craves 1 mana and 2 damage AP items to rain it down on enemy boards. so try and get him a Spear of Shojin, a Jeweled Gauntlet and a Ravenous Deathcap. Garen is your main tank who you also want to turn into the Mecha Prime in your frontline, as he'll absorb most of the enemy damage on his own. Go for items like Gargoyle's Stoneplate, Warmog's Armor and Dragon's Claw. And then there's Bel'Veth, the unit who you want to use for everything you can't throw on your dragon, and she's more on the AD side. So slap all your bows, gloves and swords on her, with Infinity Edge, Last Whisper and Titan's Resolve being her best in slots. As for augments, any Aurelion Soul Hero augments are instant picks, but you can also pick Garen's support augment too. Other than that though, you can really go for any combat augments such as Jeweled Lotus or Second Wind. That's going to wrap up our top 5 comps you have to play from our Challenger experts. If you found this video helpful, make sure to subscribe to our channel and let's continue climbing together in set 8.5. Good luck.